George one more.
And we're like, hey everybody, it's John and Rachel, and you're behind the scenes of Yajagoff on Q. We got Joe Costanzo, we got his daughter Maria. They have a big book right here. I'll Price is Right for you. Price is Right. There you go. Jack, Johnny Angel, right there. Rachel in here.
Oh, hey, just me.
So we are going to be talking to these guys on the radio a little bit, but
You get to see behind the
Maria,
scenes.
tell everybody why we're here tonight. This book right here.
This book right here. So on August the 8th, On the Rocks comes out. If you have been to the Primadonna or if you dreamed about going to the Primadonna, this book is for you. It is all about my father, Joseph Costanzo Jr., and his rise to success in the restaurant industry and his sharp fall with the Primadonna. So it's got a little bit of everything for everybody in it, and we are just so excited and pleased to be here with you guys.
Oh my God, we're excited to have you. And listen, John loves when people aren't, it's not just me. Like, so he loves a crowd, but especially you guys. I mean, being from McKees Rocks and telling the stories that you have, I love that as soon as you got in here, you were talking about the old neighborhood. Like, that's Pittsburgh, right? I mean, how can you not?
Yeah, who knows who, right?
Who knows
Joe,
who?
talk
Yes.
about the Tommy Lasorda was a regular there.
Yeah,
right?
he come in
Right?
when the Dodgers came in at time, and he loved the food, and he said the same thing as Danny Iola said. That
Just dropping names.
Yeah, I love it.
yeah, same thing as Danny Iola said. The food at Primadonna is better than any food Italian-wise in New York City or San Francisco.
Man.
Both of those guys said that.
How about that?
Yeah.
And I would agree with that.
I know. He's not Italian. He thinks he's Italian. Oh, you know what?
Well, his wife.
We'll adopt. We'll adopt.
That's
Let
what
it go.
happened.
That's my job.
That's what he
I
does.
try to adopt myself into all these Italian families.
Yeah.
Take you?
I'm Irish, and I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to pasta. But Joe, let's just talk about, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but I want to talk about it. It's the Carrozza. This was some salami thing dipped in
Yeah,
egg
it
with
was
Mancini's
an
bread.
appetizer. We had 2 pieces of Mancini's bread, and we egg battered it, and then we breaded it, put salami on it, and cheese. We deep fried it, and then we baked it. So it was we cut it in 4s,
Yes.
and it was really a real nice appetizer. In some regions in Italy, they had it. I had a chef, Tony Mastrangea, who was from Naples, and they did a lot of that there. Now, other regions didn't do it. Like in Calabria, they never did it. But people who ate it loved it.
Okay. Now, were you inspired? Did other people give you recipe ideas, or was this kind of like a family thing?
Well, what happened was, we got some recipes off of my mom, and my wife took a couple gourmet cooking classes off of Nick Fusco, who was the executive chef at the Hilton, and he had some recipes. And then I had a cousin from Italy who cooked over there, and he had some. He came over here, and he worked for me, so he had some recipes. So it was kind of a conglomerate
Sure.
of
Yeah.
Of people.
Yeah.
People's
Wow.
recipes, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So the book is coming out in August, right? We're going to talk
Yes.
about that on the radio in a
I mean,
little
the
bit.
book's
So
here, though.
yeah,
It's
but
there.
literally
Yes.
it's right there. But Maria, what was it like to touch the book after how many years you've been working on it, and then just had this physical book in your hand?
It's just the most incredible experience. So I started working on this 17 years ago, and I brought in my lovely co-author Ruthie Robbins right around 2016, who was my old.
No, 2006. Oh, yeah, but you started 2006.
Yeah, I started, and then she came in about 10 years later, and she was my old high school AP English teacher. And we partnered together through the pandemic and got this thing ready, and it was a labor of love, because one of the most common things that we were hearing was no. So it was us that really pushed it forward. We really believed in the story. We really believed that no matter where you are, whether you're in Pittsburgh, whether you're in South Dakota, everybody has that spot.
Yeah.
Everybody has
Right.
that
We have
restaurant.
30 seconds, so hold that story.
Okay.
And then we're going to
But
go
you
on
get to
the
tell it
radio.
again.
Where we're going to say this, and then when we come back, we'll stay live for a few more minutes, because Jack has some
Good.
Primadonna stories to tell. He didn't come in here for Corona.
He didn't miss me, that's for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate you coming in.
So
Jack.
anytime.
We
Thanks
live
so much.
5 minutes. Honestly,
I know,
he
but
lives
that's so
5
nice
minutes
of
for
him,
me,
you
or a
know what
minute
I
for
mean?
me. We're all good.
You know what I
We're
mean?
happy
All
to be
right.
here.
9 seconds.
All right.
And you got your dad's personality. I mean, you got a beautiful personality just like him.
John and Rachel, and if you weren't listening for a segment, well, you need to, because we have another audience, and nothing makes us happier than having people live, because we get to kibitz, commiserate, all that kind of stuff. Tonight, I feel a little bit like the outsider because there's a ton of McKees Roxians in here, but I'm so proud of it because I have my own memories of the Primadonna Restaurant, in case you weren't listening. We have Maria, who is the daughter of Joe Costanzo, and he is the guy from Primadonna. And Maria has a ton of stories that she has grown up with, asked questions about. It was, as she says, a labor of love that she wrote this book all about the Primadonna and what it meant to Pittsburgh. So Maria, welcome to Yajagoff on Q. We're so happy to have you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here with you.
So as
So
John
happy.
asked you, when we were on Facebook Live, what was it like starting? You said this started almost 20 years ago, right? When you actually started writing it.
Yeah, about 17 years ago, and I'm a writer by trade, so I started just really capturing these stories as part of a family history, but knowing that I'm a writer and I can kind of spot really good stories. Whenever my dad was telling me, hey, did I ever tell you about the time that Johnny from down the street brought that stripper in and she passed out in the bathroom? And I was like, no, do tell. Or what about that time that Danny Aiello came in and we sat down and shared some veal parmesan and conversation together? No, do tell. So it just sort of emerged like that, and then I was lucky enough to bring in my co-author Ruthie Robbins, who was my Montour High School English teacher.
I love that part of the story, that you went back to a teacher.
Yes, a wonderful teacher at such, and a wonderful person and a wonderful writer. Ruthie actually grew up in the Rocks, right down the street from the Primadonna. She was not only just my teacher, but she was a longtime customer, so she knew the area and was really able to help pull the story together. And as she says in the intro, she is a Rocks girl. A lot of the customers she grew up with, and really I think that we were able to put a lot of flavor into it, co-writing and working on this together. So really
Like
this
Lennon
is...
and McCarthy.
And I guess inquiring minds want to know. So you have the inside scoop, right? So you could come up with these thoughts like, is this a question I want to ask? Is
Sure.
this something I want to know more about? But you also have to put yourself in the position of other people and not just the daughter, right? Because you know the inside works. So what was that like? Did you kind of talk to other people to get other people's perspectives?
Sure.
And like you said, this was the place to go, right? So everybody had a story.
Yeah, everybody did have a story, and there were so many stories. Whenever we first wrote this draft, it was, no lie, like 450 pages, because everybody had a story, and we really wanted to include as many of these stories as possible. But part of the editing process and part of being a good writer is what is going to move this narrative forward. So what's going to take the reader that may have not ever heard of the Primadonna or Joe Costanzo and really captivate them to be part of the story. So that's really, with our help and with Kohler, that's kind of how we made that distinction of what made the book and what didn't make the book is really what moved that story forward.
So the book is available for pre-sale right now, right?
Yes.
And you're going to be having a launch party for you Yinzers out there. Plan it. It's in August. So, but in the meantime, when we come back, we're going to tease the fact that the word Yajagoff appears in this book somewhere. Would that be true?
Of course.
Of course it does.
Of course it does.
We're going to have Joe come back and invite you for more zucchini. And this is Maria and Joe. And Johnny Angel's here too. Do-wee.
Oh my gosh!
Yajagoff.
I knew he was going to do that at some point. That's John's iconic. He can't help it.
All right. So, Jack, tell us your story. We're on Facebook Live. Tell us your stories of the Primadonna.
Well, first of all, there's a lot because we meaning my wife and I, any of our special holidays other than Christmas Eve, because we had our own family.
Yeah, right.
And any anniversary, birthday parties, we were always at the Primadonna. And it was kind of cool. I always say to my friends that they go, "You're from Northside," and I go, "I know, but I have a visa."
You can travel to McKees Rock.
Absolutely. I used to play.
Yeah, a visa and a real ID.
That's
you know what I
right.
mean?
But we used to play steadily over in McKees Rocks, and we actually ran the Emerald Room for a while with our buddy there, and then I played at Mancini's and the La Cantina and all those. They were just fun clubs in it, right? But anytime we were in this area, or if we were playing a festival, wherever, dinner was always at Primadonna, and it's like.
And all of the people that went to see Johnny Angel and the Halos were at the Primadonna for dinner beforehand. So it was like an hour
You're
wait,
like,
you know,
yes.
2 hour wait.
He's playing again.
He
love it, yeah.
I mean, you think Taylor Swift has some power? Right? He was the first guy to have the
That's right.
power.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
The first Taylor Swift. I love it.
That's so funny.
And we were also talking about Pete Hewlett. Pete's one of my
Happy
dearest
birthday,
friends.
Pete.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy
Pete.
birthday, Pete.
And of course, Pete has a big connection with the Primadonna, and we always talk. Anytime Pete and I would get together, first thing come out, we'll be talking about our memories going down to Primadonna.
Another non-Italian guy who wants to be Italian. Just saying.
It's the Irish connection.
Yeah,
See, it's
right. Right. So listen, make sure you're listening to Q92.9 because there's more stories like this. We want to talk to Joe a little bit about some of the recipes, talk to Maria more about what to expect in the book, and you need to find out these dates because you're Yinzers and you are Nebby, so you need to know all of this, right?
And we have one last thing. Matt Kavanaugh says, "Tell him I love him. My nana used to watch his kids.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh,
And
my
my mom
goodness.
went to
Anna.
school with his wife."
Yeah,
Very
that's
good.
right.
He's so Yinzer.
That's
Matt Kavanaugh is so
As a matter of fact, his mother is in Italy. Matt's mother's in Italy, and she texted me today, and I talked to her. I talked to her on my text.
And tell
His mother.
Tell him what you said about how she's living.
Oh, I said, "You're living large, Becky." She goes, "What are you saying that I'm getting larger for?" I said, "I didn't say that. I said, you're living large."
Maria, tell everybody where they can find this book.
Yeah.
You're not taking
Absolutely.
mine.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's good.
You can go to Maria C. Palmer. That's MariaCPalmer.com, and all the places to buy the book are right there. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Little Green Bookstore, Penguin Books,
Heinz History
Heinz
Center.
History Center. It's all right there.
Nice.